let me get out in front of any flag-waving SJW idiots. This is not about race, it is about culture. Superman is an old, boring character, and most of the films have been crap. Even though it would be better if they created new characters instead, I'm open to the idea of what they are calling Black Superman. But I'll only care if it's Terry Crews.
Now, I understand everyone's shit's emotional right now, but listen up.
Black Little Mermaid? Sure. The story is almost 200 years old, and both fish and people come in all kinds of colors. But I won't watch it because they didn't give the role of King Triton to Terry Crews.
Magically delicious, nigga.
Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is the best Spider-Man film so far. And even gender-swapping Doc Ock, Olivia was a super badass. Hamilton? Meh, whatever. They've been swapping genders in theatrical plays for thousands of years, and races for quite a while now too. And honestly, no one cares about Andrew Hamilton. Now, Black Anne Boleyn in a historical piece? No. That's just straight up blackwashing cultural appropriation. Now, if they had given that role to Terry Crews, it would have been okay. But they didn't. So to finally get to the point, in case you haven't heard, Netflix has cast the actors for the live-action version of the DC Vertigo comic Sandman, and they have cast a black actress in the role of Death. It's bad enough that you know Netflix is going to screw it up to begin with, just like they did with their live-action Death Note, or how they're going to totally mess up a live-action One Piece next. But the best way to think about it is in the context of the 2010 reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. That wasn't Freddy Krueger. Robert Englund will always be Freddy. And the fact that Robert was still up for doing the film but they recast him anyway? Fuck them. And the character of Death in the Sandman comic is the same way. Neil Gaiman, the author of Sandman, defended the Netflix shit show, stating, "I give zero fucks about people who don't understand or haven't read Sandman whining about a non-binary desire or that death isn't white enough. Watch the show, make up your minds." What Neil's bloated ego fails to let him understand is, it wasn't his mediocre storylines that he ripped off from the Twilight Zone that made the Sandman comic popular. It was Dave McKean's unique collage-style covers, and more importantly, Mike Dringenberg's art, and specifically his rendition of Death, that made the comic a success. A whole generation of young goth readers started buying comics for the first time in their life because of Mike's version of Death, and many would pick up other Vertigo titles because of their darker nature. She was iconic and important to the gothic subculture. And more importantly, she was based on a real woman that Mike knew, named Cinnamon Hadley. Sadly, she passed away last year from cancer-related complications. Perhaps it's better that she didn't live to see how they dishonored her. Once again, the major studios are pissing all over their lifelong fans by destroying the characters and franchises they love. And since Netflix hides their numbers, we'll never know how poorly the Sandman series will really be received. And especially because he wrote this super shitty Cthulhu short story, proving he has no fucking clue about what it takes to write in the mythos, Neil Gaiman, that talentless hack, can go fuck himself. Until next time, Cthulhu Fatagan.